Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Raven Reads. Unbox Indigenous voices. Subscribe today at ravenreads.org.
Close-Up. I'm your host, Sharen Skelly, and we're back in studio today. It's been 2 years, and it's nice to see people again. And our guest today is Renee Robbins, and Renee isn't representing the shelter for a change.
Not today. Not today.
She hasn't gone.
We're a different shirt today.
Yeah, and she doesn't have a cat or dog with her. So
that is weird for me. I feel like I should be fiddling with something or holding something. It's different for me.
It is an animal-related topic, though, today,
Yes.
and Renee is representing Grace today. And I need this pamphlet to actually say what Grace represents or stands for. Georgian Riding Association for Challenged Equestrians.
Yes.
And Grace is a very, very important organization, charity in our area. Now, for our viewers, many people may have seen the stables and the place where the people go and ride the horses, and people are out there walking the equestrians or and enabling them to do their exercising with the horses. Can you tell us where the stables are to begin with?
Absolutely. I'll give you the whole rundown. So Grace has been an organization that has actually been around for over 30 years, but for the last 20 it has been across from what we call, if you're local,
yes,
the old
the old
drive-in. It's on Road 17B, or the road that runs where the old drive-in was, just outside the Owen Sound limits. Or if you're horse inclined, you might know the facility as the former Wickland Hall or Wickland Stables, which is what it was in the olden days, or what it kind of sort of technically still is. The facility now is primarily Grace focused. We do have boarders there who help sort of pay some of our costs, but at the same time, the priority is for Grace. So most of the things you see going on there when you drive by are Grace programs. When Grace started back in the day, it focused primarily on persons with physical disabilities. We saw in that time quite a few riders who had perhaps Down syndrome or cerebral palsy. They may have been blind or had hearing impairments. Now we see, we've expanded our program and we see a variety of different challenges. For example, we have a physiotherapist on staff now who does something called hippotherapy. Not with hippos.
No,
Hippo is from the Greek word horse, actually.
Okay.
And it is physiotherapy using a horse. And she has riders who have a variety of physical ailments who use the horse to manipulate certain parts of their body. What the world probably doesn't know, unless you're horse inclined, is that riding a horse is actually the only activity that stimulates every part of your body. For example, your sense of smell, your hearing, your sight, your intestines, your internal organs, your heart, your lungs, your toes, your fingers, every single part of your body. Let's leave taste out of that. Hopefully you're not tasting things.
This is true.
Everything but taste, but you never know. It could happen too.
You never
Everything else is being stimulated and worked and exercised all at the same time. Additionally, when you are on the back of a horse, it's sort of like swimming, in which your body is not putting strain, it's not weight bearing. So your ankles and your hips and your waist are all sort of, you have the ability to relieve the pressure off of them. It has, for those reasons, become a very popular way of exercising someone who perhaps, let's use a wheelchair as an example, who maybe needs the motion of movement, which is actually the very same as walking, as another side note, to get themselves exercising in that manner. We have one rider who is in the hippotherapy program who is in a wheelchair, and when he attends a hippotherapy session is actually, here's too much information for the world, the only time which allows him to go off his pain medication, because he is receiving that therapy which helps things move, and he goes off his pain medication, which in turn can help him have better bowel movements. I know that's where things get weird.
It
helps him poop.
That would help, yes.
It does help him poop, and I know that's not something we like to talk about, but
well,
the truth is it's very important to poop.
Well, it is, and for someone like him, it would be very, very important, and it would make him feel, and like the pain.
Exactly.
Pain, yes.
So you can imagine how that is helpful for him. The other thing we have added to the GRACE program over the years, where we have evolved, is we have a lot of persons who perhaps are struggling emotionally or mentally. Perhaps you're dealing with post-traumatic stress, aren't we all now? Maybe with anxiety or social connections. It's something that we've lost over the last few years. We have programs now that use horses to help us do that. One such program is called Equine Assisted Learning. And what that program is, it's actually not a riding program, but something that happens on the ground. And it is designed for each individual in using, we're going to call it horse energy. Here's where things get weird again. A horse is one of the few animals that respond to energy positively or negatively. Energy meaning you're having a bad day, you walk in and you're cranky, and maybe your horse doesn't want to talk to you today. And you're like, what the heck is going on? Well, guess what? He knows you're not having a good day. He doesn't want any part of it. So we can use that as a way to have the person bring their energy back down.
Yes.
And bring themselves into check, in which they feel better and relaxed. And then suddenly your horse has an interest in paying attention to you.
I can see how that would work, because I don't know a lot about horses, but I do know horses are kind of like social beings. Like they have like if you have a group of horses, or whatever you call them, a group of horses at a stable, like they have a pecking order if you bring a new one in, and like they're kind of like kids in a way, you know, they're like humans. And they have a social order.
They do.
Yes.
They do. They absolutely do. And you are welcoming and positive and happy, and your energy is in check. They're going to come to you. They're curious. They like attention. They like love. You have a bad day. You're in a grumpy mood. You are needing to work on yourself. They don't want to talk to you. So it is a way to help people to bring themselves into check. So basically, GRACE now is a program that can help everybody in the community who has any sort of trouble. We have classes of youth who are struggling socially, who we've put together to work as a team. They don't even know they're doing it. That's the best part. They've developed friendships. Additionally, our volunteers are often selected based on their knowledge of certain things and their needs as well. So what we're finding is it's an organization that is now helping the community help the community, which is so cool. I love it, and I'm inspired by it. I am the president and have been for 5 years, but I have been involved in the organization quite a while, 10 years, as a horse owner myself and somebody who works with animals and understands the importance of energy. I use it myself as a way to keep myself in check. People often say, hey, you know, you have an animal job at the animal shelter, and that must really be terrible. And it is, and actually GRACE balances that out for me, which is weird to say, but it does. Nothing makes me happier than seeing those people succeed, which is all people, my volunteers included, my instructors included. You can imagine the struggle as a person perhaps who is visually impaired and hearing impaired, and I have 2 riders who are both. So Helen Keller on a horse, imagine that, who must trust their sidewalkers and trust their horse and trust their leader to be able to help them be able to ride. Can you imagine the freedom that gives them to be able to ride a horse?
Yeah,
and the amount of trust that would require. So at the same time, imagine how good that feels for those volunteers who are helping that person achieve those things. I mean, we don't have volunteers who quit, generally speaking, because they are inspired, and it makes a difference in their life as well. So it's a very cool thing to see and be a part of.
It must be.
And I recommend, if you're wondering what you can do with yourself, anybody, give us a call, because we'll find something for you. You don't have to be horse inclined. You don't have to be people inclined. We have jobs that are separate to both of those things.
For everyone.
You might just be some guy who did some construction at some point in your life and now you're doing nothing. We got a job for you too.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
We've got something for everyone. And it does feel really good to make a difference, and we want people to do that. Again, because our program has expanding, we have so many different roles and so many jobs that people can take.
Sounds like it.
And we're evolving with the community, which is really nice.
Now, you've got all these clients, or, people that are attending Grace. How do you access Grace? Like, say you have a child or someone in your home or a friend or family member that you think, oh, this might benefit them. How do you access those services?
We can be reached either by phone. You could just look us up on the phone book, if phone books still exist. I don't even know.
I don't know if they do.
I don't even know.
I haven't had one phone at my house in a while.
You can Google us. You can also reach out to our website. You can reach out through our Facebook page, our Instagram page, or you can just pop in at the barn. There's generally somebody there. There's sometimes a little intermission in the afternoon, but there's always someone around because, of course, the horses there need care as well, and our barn manager can direct you to the right people too.
Now, do you need a formal diagnosis to?
Not at all. It is, as you can imagine, a tricky conversation to have with somebody, right? What you got going on, right? And so we appreciate that if somebody is reaching out to us, they need some kind of assistance, usually through conversations in which we say, what are you looking for? What are you hoping to achieve? They tend to open up, and we have a program director who deals specifically with those person's needs, who can put them in the right places, doing the right sort of things. Now, in saying that, if you have a medical diagnosis, and what I mean when I say that, perhaps something that may affect your ability to ride, maybe you take seizures, we need to have a chat about doctor care. You will be asked if you have any physical restrictions or if you have any medical things we need to be aware of, and in those cases we do require some doctor conversations. I mean, we do have special trained horses. I need to mention that. Our horses are very skilled. In the event someone perhaps had a seizure on a horse, we have to talk about that. There are horses will not react to that. So. Right. But we want to avoid it. Additionally, we have specially trained volunteers. They are trained in first aid. They are trained in special holding techniques and the ability to get a rider off a horse in the event we have a situation. If they're even anxious, we have situations in which somebody might go into a panic attack. We have the training and the ability to get somebody through that. Oh. So we have people who call us sometimes going, well, I have a son and he's very anxious, and when he does that, he hyperventilates, and is this somebody we're going to put on a horse? And the answer is we can still help you. We need to be made aware of those things so that we can help them properly and get them through it with the right people in the barn to do that. Obviously, someone who maybe has some autism or who's on the spectrum is a very different lesson from somebody who has some anxiety.
Right.
It's a very different. And we coordinate the lessons to suit the appropriate program, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. Is there a waiting list?
There can be. And when I say that, it again depends on your needs. If you are potentially a youth who is struggling emotionally, we may have a space in the class in which others are doing the same, and we can throw you in there. If you are somebody perhaps who has cerebral palsy and you need, let's say, 4 strong rider capable people, there may not be an opening in a class to put you in. So it really just depends on your needs, but we are very willing to accommodate. The idea is to get everybody in that we can when we can, but we have to do that safely. Mm-hmm.
Now, you say some of your horses are specially trained, or maybe all of them are. Where do you get the horses?
Well, it's a heck of a process, let me tell you. Most of the horses we have in the barn came from other therapeutic riding facilities. In those cases, they are horses that have already spent a generation, and when I say a generation, some of them are 20 years old.
Yeah, horses can live a long time.
They can live a long time in which they've already had the work done to them. Additionally, sometimes people call us and they're like, you know, I have this exceptional horse and I think you need to meet it. And that's how we gained a couple too. We also have very skilled, we're going to call them horse parents because that's what we call them, who spend a lot of time with the horses. Sometimes they get a little weird. We have random things that happen. You know, maybe they are pretty tired of somebody pulling on the left side of their mouth. And their job is to make sure those horses remain happy and in check for those sort of things. So it's always a process. I mean, a horse is an animal, and although they're specialty trained, you know, some days they just have days they're not their best days.
Yeah.
You know, maybe today I don't like that part of the arena. I don't feel like it today, so we'll work on that and get them through it. So even our very well-trained horses sometimes need a little touch-up, but most of them have been purchased with the help of grants and sponsors and donations. We do have a sponsorship program in which people can donate monthly, or they can make a donation yearly to help support a certain horse in the program to keep them working for us, which is good because there's a lot of maintenance and a lot of upkeep for sure.
You have a fundraiser coming up?
We do.
Can you tell us about it?
It's my very favorite one, which is why I'd love to tell you about it. October 1st of this year, we have what we call a ride-a-thon, which is happening at Dual Acres, which is in Shallow Lake. And you can certainly Google that or send me messages and I'll send you directions. And what this is a community event. I like to call it that because I always am so touched by the community coming together. And you can either bring your own horse if you have one and ride the trails, or you can come and ride the wagons, which, to be honest, I have horses and I prefer to ride the wagons because it gives you a chance to sit and talk to people. It is by donation. $25 would be recommended, but we're flexible on that. For you to come and ride the wagons, it's a nice 2-hour scenic trail ride. It's awesome. You can have a bowl of chili, a hot chocolate to warm up, and come out and meet some of our Grace riders and meet people in the community as well. Now, if you want to take it one step further, which is what we really want you to do, you can collect pledges. And if you collect pledges, you can still ride the wagons or ride your horse, but you can win a prize, which is amazing. The 3 top pledge winners will win some fantastic prizes. For example, we have a weekend stay at Cobble Beach lined up.
Oh, that's a nice one.
And that includes your meals and your sleepover. How cool is that on a spa package?
Oh.
That's a big one. You want to win that one, and that will probably go to our #1 pledger. Additionally, we have small prizes for people who collect pledges that will be randomly selected.
Nice.
Maybe you'll win some t-shirts or some horse brushes, you never know. Or you might win a family ride package and your family could come to the Grace Barn and go for a ride, or maybe a trail ride.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
See, lots of prizes. Definitely worth checking out. And additionally, I mean, those pledges are what keep us operating. The Grace Barn has a lot of expenses. Unlike other, we're going to say, organizations in the area, we have additional expenses because we have live creatures that we have to feed and maintain. They have a blacksmith that needs to come. We have vet expenses. We got feed. We got shavings. We got somebody who's got to clean their poo we got to pay for. So we have operational expenses that we need to keep us, need covered to keep us operating.
Yeah, their feet and the vet are really important, and then of course the feed and
absolutely, and we can't be cheapy on that because these are important horses that we need to keep on the top of their game.
Quality, well, as with any pet, if you can afford it, because not everyone can, but if you can, quality food gives them quality health.
It sure does, and these guys really have an important role. Without our horses, we got nothing.
That's right, no program.
That's right, we need them. It is also a nice opportunity if you are interested in the program itself and you're not sure, you know, how you feel about, maybe you want to meet some people first, you can certainly come. Our board of directors will be there, as well as a lot of our volunteers and some of our riders. So it gives you an opportunity to learn more about the program as well. Plus, it's the fall and it's a wagon
perfect time for all of that.
A chili and a wagon, like, come on.
Get the kids out. So go over the details again, when and where.
It is October 1st. It is at Dual Acres in Shallow Lake. I guess if you were coming from Owen Sound, you'd make the first right, just just past the bend coming into Shallow
Okay.
Lake, and it will be on the right-hand side of the road, and there'll be signs, and it is
Okay.
marked there as well. The wagons will roll at 12 o'clock sharp, so we want you to be there about 11:30, maybe even before, so you get a chance to mingle and get comfy on a wagon. As long as we have people there, the wagons will continue to roll. In saying that, usually it wraps up about 2:30, depending. I mean,
Okay.
but we want you to come earlier rather than later. Don't rely on the wagons rolling. We don't want to roll for one person,
No.
ideally.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have information about that on your website,
Yep.
on your Facebook page,
Yep.
on your. Do you have Instagram?
We do.
Do you have Twitter?
No.
No. No. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean,
yeah.
I wish, but
Yeah.
I don't have
so
time
Facebook,
for Twitter.
Instagram,
You got it.
and your website.
The website,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so you can go on that and find out information about everything.
Everything.
But especially about the fundraiser.
Yes.
So back to the program.
Yep.
It costs money.
It does.
So if you are so inclined and want to make a donation, perhaps in memory of someone or for a birthday, wedding anniversary,
Yep.
something like that,
Yep.
or the holidays are coming up, you might say, maybe I'd rather make a charitable donation rather than giving a present.
Absolutely.
How do you do that?
Yep. The easiest way is you can send an e-transfer, and you can do that through info@graceriding.ca. But you can do it through the website as well. You can do it, again, through all of those other ways. You can send a check. You can pop in and give us cash. However you want to. We'll accommodate.
Yes.
An additional piece on that, I know it's a little early to think about Christmas, but we can talk about it. We will be having a Christmas campaign in which you can donate to sponsor a horse as a gift for someone, and you'll get a photograph of the horse.
Isn't that great?
And a great little message from one of our children. I mean, it's awesome, and it's
I like that
and
idea.
it's cheap and easy. And I mean, you could do it online. You don't even have to come see us if you don't want to, or you can bring him out and meet the horse too. Why the heck not?
That's a great idea. Oh, I love
It is.
that one.
Do
That's
it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yep,
I
definitely.
like those ideas.
Yeah, and I mention it because some people are Christmas shopping. I mean, it's early for me, but some people are doing
no,
it.
I
Keep it
think
in your
it's
mind.
a good idea.
Keep
People
it in your
are
mind.
budgeting.
They
you know,
are.
They don't want to go overspend.
Yep.
And it's a good idea.
It is.
And it's charitable donation.
It is.
So you
And
can
you get a tax
Yeah, you
receipt.
get a tax receipt.
Sure.
Not that that's the only reason to do that, but so you are the president.
Yep.
And you're also how would I call it? Instructor, leader.
Yep. Yeah, I teach a few classes. Most people don't know that I have also, in my spare time, been a riding instructor for many, many years, over 25 actually.
You have spare time?
Yeah, I don't. This is why. But I have mostly been focusing on the Grace program now. I have with me an assistant who deals with children with developmental delays and physical delays. She coaches me on those needs, and I take care of the other piece, and together we're a great team. So I do, and I am there Wednesday nights and Saturdays. So yeah, in my spare
You
time.
give so much back.
Thank you.
Now, speaking of giving back,
Yep.
I must say, every show almost that I host, volunteers are the backbone of
They
this
sure
area.
are.
I think of Canada,
They
really.
sure are.
Probably with all the NGOs, the world, everybody's, depending on volunteers. So, volunteers are the backbone, I'm sure, of your
They sure are.
agency or organization. So, if you are interested in volunteering,
Yep.
how do you go about doing
Sure.
that?
Same way. I want you to send me a message, or you can pop in the barn. If you're going to send that message, you can send it again to info@graceriding, or do it through the website, or through the Facebook page, or through the Instagram page, or pop in. There are no age requirements. As I said earlier, we can find a job for you. There is a lot to be done. Maybe you want to wash windows. We got that job that needs done too. Or you might want to be more involved. Maybe you're somebody who has a retired riding career yourself, or you ride and you've got horse experience. We really could use you. Maybe you're interested in instructing. Maybe you have an interest in being a sidewalker. Maybe you just want to brush horses.
Well, that's a good
We have
one.
rules for everybody.
Or do you need board members?
We do. We can use those too. Any role that you think you might be helpful in, we can take you. because it's what's keeping us going. We need help.
If you're a high school student, does volunteering at Grace work towards your, what do you call those, volunteer hours?
It sure does. And I want to make a mention, an extra shout out to those. You can get scholarships and grants. I know this because my son has done it. For your volunteer hours, and that's not something that people talk about. Grace is very flexible. We do run program 6 days a week, and that's not a lot of other organizations do that. So you can pile up a whole lot of hours at awful fast.
Wow, yes you could.
Right? If you had the time to do so. We do have every evening something and most of Saturday. So you can pile them up. So if you're somebody who's considering applying, I know it's early in the year, but maybe by the end of the year, you're looking to have a scholarship or a grant for school, volunteer hours is a way you can do that. Call me, I'll hook you up, because we need the help and you need the hours.
Wow, yes.
We also have a lot of high school students who are approaching the end of their high school who found that they're struggling to get hours because we were in lockdown. I don't like to talk about that. Well, again, because we are open so much, you can throw in a lot of volunteer hours in a short period of time to catch up.
Good to know.
Definitely.
Really. Yeah. And I think too, if you wanted to be, if you're interested in animal behavior or want to be a vet or a vet's assistant, I'm not sure if that's the title, veterinary technician.
Sure.
Those are really good things to put towards your resume or your college or university application.
It sure is.
So,
additionally, you might have an interest yourself in physical therapy, or maybe you want to be a doctor, or maybe you have an interest in working with people emotionally.
Yeah.
We can help you, put you in those classes so you can see the changes it makes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have learned a heck of a lot over the years in watching those people grow and develop and change, and I've learned a lot about their challenges, and everybody does, which is the best part about it.
Yeah, they would be great. I mean, it would be great. It's a great learning experience, you know, for like nursing, medicine, anything.
Absolutely.
And just for yourself personally.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, I'm not just saying to use
Absolutely.
it.
And another piece, physically, if you participate in our classes, it's good for you as well. We walk for 2 or 3 hours, right? I mean, you think walking your dog is exercise. You should try walking a horse.
Well, no, thank you. No, I mean, really, it would be a great experience.
It is a great way for somebody to maintain their physical health as well, just by participating.
Yes, I know a young girl who's she just turned 9, and she partakes in a program much like this. And she has autism. Yes.
And
her progress has just been phenomenal, and we just account for it because of this.
Absolutely.
It just is amazing, and the family just appreciates it so much, and I'm sure you get feedback from family and friends, and the people that partake in the program must be so grateful to you and the volunteers.
We see little miracles every day.
I'm sure you do.
That's the honest truth. We have, riders who are nonverbal, who have full-on conversations with their horses.
Well, yes, and the horses get to feel that too.
Absolutely.
Because horses, as we said, they are
love
social.
that good energy.
Well, Renee, thank you for joining us here on Community Close-Up. And we've got to remind our viewers that there is that great fundraiser coming up in October. So check out the Facebook page and the Instagram and the website for all the details. And we hope you make some money and donate and sponsor a horse.
Absolutely.
That would be great. And join us again here on Community Close-Up on Rogers TV. And remember, it's your community, so take part. And we're not out of COVID quite yet, so take precautions, get a vaccination, wash your hands, social distance, wear a mask if they ask you to. That's just my opinion, but take it as you want to. And join us again here on Rogers TV. Bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
Sports fans know Sundays are for football. That's why you need NFL Sunday Tickets. With NFL Sunday Ticket, you'll get every live